It don't matter about the suit or you know what kind of clothes you got. It's your game. As long as you got skills, and we know I got skills. Right. You know, let me go and play that. I'm gonna go ahead and play that.
A few moments later.
That's Vince Carter. This is year number 22. Removed from their championship. Bronny James trying to create some space. James, three.
Why don't you try being like everyone else?
How am I gonna do that?
You can start by getting a job.
Hello, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order, please?
When it comes to the spectacle of Bronny James, the debacle of Bronny James, it's one of the most embarrassing, pathetic things I've ever seen in professional sports. And when you think it's reached rock bottom, somehow gets even more embarrassing and more pathetic. As in his third preseason game versus the Bucks, in only 6 minutes of play, went 0-4 shooting, missed 2 threes, and was a team worst -12.
My God, what is that smell?
To be a -12 in 6 minutes, you must have to be playing bad on purpose to have that much of a negative impact. And doing the math on Bronny really quickly, his +/- games in is a -40 in 35 minutes. That plus-minus by a long shot is the worst of the entire Lakers roster. If this guy's last name wasn't James, he would be cut on the spot. But because he's Bronny James, has the hype, the media attention, he's going to get pushed out there on opening night, paraded out there, to have that moment with his dad that ESPN will be drooling over.
We're going to be seeing history very, very soon. Their debut together, the first father-son duo in NBA history to play at the same time in a game, will be as soon as opening night, October 22nd, against the Minnesota Timberwolves at home.
So stopping Shams right there, tossing Bronny to the Wolves in Game 1, I mean, this guy is a glorified pawn and a joke. And to get that quote-unquote moment, it's going to last, what, 1.5, 2 minutes maximum? Hopefully Bronny at that time isn't a -15, but after that game, gonna get shipped out to the G League, be irrelevant, a non-factor, and really a non-story for the rest of the season. The entire Bronny experiment makes the NBA into a reality show and the Real Housewives of Los Angeles. As the spectacle of Bronny is actually more important, more valuable to the media than actual play on the court. As looking at Bronny's play on the court, if he wasn't Bronny James, would not be in the NBA. As compared to his Lakers teammates, 18 guys on the roster, here's Bronny's ranks this preseason. Scoring, 17th. Field goal percentage, 17th. 3-point percentage, 18th. Turnovers, 15th, an improvement, and plus-minus, dead last, 18th. It's pretty clear Bronny James isn't an NBA player, and he's the worst player on the Lakers roster. And some other guys who aren't household names, really even relevant in the preseason, guys like Quincy Oliveira, Emmanuel Torre, Kyler Kelly, these guys are really no names irrelevant, and still playing better than Bronny James. And those guys, if their last name isn't James, aren't going to get that moment in those guaranteed minutes on opening night. Because again, Bronny James is a glorified Make-A-Wish candidate. If you want to talk about making it to the NBA, earning your spot in the league, it's one of the hardest things you could possibly do. But for Bronny James, he skipped not 1, not 2 steps, but 3 or 4. And here's the problem. Your name, your father, people you know, they can get you in the door. But at some point, your actual playability has to keep you on the floor, on the roster. And thus far, Bronny been absolutely anemic, pathetic, and underperformed, despite very low expectations. And speaking of pathetic, you have someone like Stephen A. Smith actually defending this move and saying, quote, LeBron has earned this.
Now here's the deal. I've noticed, I'm sure y'all have noticed, that many people have been critical of the fact that Bronny is on the team to begin with. But guess what? I'm not one of them. I want to say this because it's important to point this out, okay? It is a damn travesty that you got people running their damn mouths, acting like it's a problem that he got his son on the team. Ladies and gentlemen, LeBron has earned this.
What did you just say?
LeBron has earned this.
Say it again to my face.
LeBron has earned this.
Come again?
So stopping Stephen A. right there, cutting his ramblings off, in a pathetic attempt to defend LeBron James, actually let the cat out of the bag. As in defending Bronny and LeBron, what did he say? LeBron James has earned this. Not Bronny James, but LeBron. Again, I'm going to show you guys Bronny James is a spectacle, a pawn, and the first NBA player to be treated like a Make-A-Wish candidate. The entire NBA knows Bronny James isn't ready prepared for the NBA. Fans know it, GMs know it, players on his team know it, everybody knows it. At the end of the day, this is a charade for LeBron James to satisfy his ego and his legacy. And looking at Clutch Sports, someone like Rich Paul, they push the narrative constantly LeBron James, has no influence on the coaching, the roster, the offensive systems, has no input in any of that. These people, they think you're stupid. Lakers this summer signed JJ Redick as their coach, LeBron's podcast mate, then drafted his son, who is a below-average college player in the worst conference out of the Power 5. To say LeBron James has no pull, no input in the Lakers, that's the biggest crock I've ever heard. This summer alone proves it, but look at his time in Cleveland, even in Miami. LeBron James always has input on the roster, as well as coaching. And looking at the Golden State Warriors, what did they say verbatim? They were thinking about drafting Bronny, but passed on him to satisfy LeBron's wishes. I mean, that right there, case closed. NBA teams know it, GMs know it. This is LeBron's move, and he's calling all the shots. I'm not some detective, some genius, some basketball savant to say this. I'm just one of the very few people who points it out and tells it how it is.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
And one last thing I do want to touch on, for a lot of the pro-Bronny media kind of going soft on him, they view Bronny and LeBron as kind of a 1-2 package, they're one and the same. Bronny plays bad to criticize that, that's an attack on LeBron James, and vice versa. Just because you're LeBron James' son doesn't make you an NBA prospect or a potential very good NBA player. As instead of looking at Bronny's own career's performance, they'll defend him for one reason and one reason only. He's LeBron's son. Bronny at every stage post-high school has been a below-average player. College, way below average. Summer League, below average. Preseason, the worst player on the roster. And eventually in the NBA, we're one of the worst players in the entire league on a roster. The whole Bronny fiasco, it's a mockery of the game. As looking at Bronny in the Summer League, these stats alone as play alone should prove that to a T. Bronny's ranks in the Summer League, scoring-wise, wasn't top 170. Field goal percentage, couldn't crack 300, 3 percentage was 300, and plus minus ranked 419.
Where you at? In the bathroom!
Long story short, if it was Bronny Caldwell, Bronny Johnson, he'd be overseas right now in a B-tier Italian league, suiting up as their sixth man. But because he's Bronny James, he's going to be out there Lakers opening night on TNT. The so-called father-son moment, it's actually not a moment, it's a spectacle. Because moments, they're meaningful, they're genuine. Spectacles, you're just there to see it happen, kind of witness it. This right here is not a moment. It's a spectacle, a joke, and a mockery of the game. And the last thing I'll say for the Bronny defenders, how many times are you going to get fooled, give him a pass, or just look the other way? In college, got off to a very bad start. Well, he'll find his groove, give him time. Well, end of the college season, didn't find his groove, under 5 points, under 40% shooting. He was awful, and one of the worst players in his conference. Well, in the summer, give him time to train, he'll be better, come back stronger. Well, has that summer, declares for the draft prematurely, and of course, not allowed to criticize that move. Then, of course, the LA Summer League versus the Heat, the Kings, those teams, not playing great, but just, wait till he gets to Vegas, the real Summer League, things will really pick up. Well, Vegas happens, and like clockwork, Bronny James plays bad, underperforms. Well, give him one more chance. He's got to learn, grow, be around actual NBA players. Those Summer League guys, his teammates, they were beneath him. Well, Bronny finally in the NBA, playing with the big boys, and he's even worse. At what point do we just say what everyone can see? Bronny James is an awful NBA player. And if he somehow makes LA's active roster, he'll be one of, if not the worst players in the entire league. So, as always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.